Hi, I'm JR. I play Mizr Snowfang, an Ancient Oath Paladin. Mizr is a Brah, which is a race unique to Vrath. Mizr was taken to the Feywild as a cub, and as a result, he's much more carefree.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I play Neriah Stonefury, an Eldritch Knight. She has a complex family history that mostly revolves around death, which has hardened her outlook on life.
Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm playing Tristan Bestor, aka Stormmane. He's a Tempest Cleric, raised up among a group of mercenaries. He's been kind of hardened to the world and kind of skewed his opinions of the people around him and their motives.
Hi, I'm David. I played Jorell Magnusson, a Circle of the Land Druid who has an interesting relationship with time, giving him a unique perspective on things.
And I'm Jared, aka DM.F, and this is Darkhounds, a 360 D&D actual play series brought to you by Game Master Studio. Open the door into the war room where we had Orion, Agatha, Styx, Heroth, Osric, and then the four of you entering.
I did enter the bathroom across the hall. I went down the hall and to the right.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah. Exit stage
on the right.
Right.
Down the hall to the left, yes? Yes, okay. All right.
This doesn't look like a war room. It looks more like a storage closet.
More like the bathroom. I think they tried to pull one of those pranks on me. We're still at the guild hall.
Yeah, you're at the guild hall.
Okay, I'm just like mixing it up between the time before.
Everybody's been drinking a little too much, apparently.
Too many games.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Sadly, it'll be a little while again between now and the next time, but maybe we can get a more regular schedule going after the holidays. Holiday season! So, you take your time at the bathroom, you finally enter. We have everyone gathered. There's a large circular table, has some maps drawn out, some random papers. There you see the Orion, Agatha, Styx, Heroth, Osric, all kind of like, talking, everything out, pointing to random things. They seem to be discussing the priority of what needs to be dealt with next. When Orion sees you all enter the room, or when the full group has finally entered the room, he addresses you all. So, been telling you already that we needed to talk about what's been going on since you've been gone. I know Ascot sort of dropped the bomb on you of like Clovis is on his way. And that was something that we were going to talk about this morning. We have a little bit of time before he should be here. But we definitely have a lot to discuss because he's not the only situation. So, I guess we'll get right into it. He kind of motions towards Osric. And Osric nods. Alright, so I'm gonna mangle your Osric, and I apologize. I've been talking with everyone and catching up on what I've been missing since I've been gone, and basically we have some ideas of what Clovis is after, but we're not sure. But judging from a little bit you discerned from that book and a little bit we know about Clovis, I think he wants to screw with the releasing of the dragons. He's like waiting for like this big shocking awe to like sweep the room, looking around. So you remember the dragons?
Yes, releasing of them.
Well, it's more of like an unlocking of the door. Yes. So I've spent most of my life studying the dragons and with their disappearance. I don't know how much what you're familiar with from your time. I know dragons were around when you were there, in your previous life, I guess we could say. Dragons tend to go away and come back every few thousand years. And we always assumed they just had they did it on their own volition. No one really knew why. It turns out that there's actually a triggering mechanism to bring them back. It can't be done prior to a certain time frame. I don't know all the details or the specifics, but I was privy and a part of the party to unlocking the first part of the puzzle, I suppose you could say. I met a young dragon boy, I suppose you could say. Not a real, like a dragon man. He called himself Dragonborn. He was referred to as the Key by the kobolds that raised him. And
The Dova key.
with his help, we were able to release the first. He called himself the Copper Knight, the first piece of the puzzle. So apparently, there's some sort of. You have to release a bunch of these dragon men people, and then they kind of do the rest, I guess. But we need Roger, the Dragonborn man, in order to finish unlocking all of the knights. We released one, and then that one left, disappeared, and basically we need to pick up the trail of where that left off.
So even assuming all of these legends are true, how does any of that tie in to Clovis coming here?
Me. I'm one of the few people that was, I was there as part of that party, and I was quite knowledgeable. I was probably one of the only people that could be referred to as a scholar on the subject prior to the events, and now I'm one of the most knowledgeable humanoids, I suppose you could say, currently alive on the matter. So I believe he wants to find me, to interrogate me, to put him on the trail that we need to pick up ourselves. My assumption is he wants to stop the releasing of the dragons. As you may have become aware, he seems a little bit bitter towards dragons. So I believe he would like to avoid their return.
And do you want the dragons?
Well, I mean, aside from it being a part of a natural order, wouldn't it be spectacular if once again dragons filled the skies? I've been studying these creatures my whole life. They're fantastic. They've brought great golden ages to this world several times. I mean, a couple apocalyptic events. But but for the most part, golden ages.
Mizr gets very excited. Tail starts wagging when he starts getting all animated about dragons filling the skies.
And don't you want to just kind of put a crimp in Clovis's day? I mean, that seems like incentive enough, but, you know, to each their own.
So I assume this will interest you?
Absolutely, it interests me. Yes. I'd love to see dragons. I'd love to have a conversation with a dragon. Think of how wise they are. They're thousands of years old.
I don't know. If any of them that I know are still around, make sure to introduce you.
That'd be fantastic.
But see, Clovis, perhaps he's blinded by whatever it is that blinded him. But doesn't he understand that even if he tries to stop the natural order of things from occurring, that somebody's just gonna come along and make it happen anyway? It's just standard villain logic.
I might not know him as well as you did, but he doesn't exactly seem open to negotiation anyway. If he's got it set in what's what, then he's not going to be convinced otherwise.
Well, that's generally what happens when people become blinded to logical conclusions.
I mean, he's a Death Knight, so already off the grid. They tend to not be very logical, I suppose.
Reasonable individuals, yes.
Yes. So I'm going to hand it back over to my buddy Orion over here, because that's kind of the gist of what I know. That's my assumptions based off everything I've learned. The only reason it would make sense for him to be after me, which is the conclusion that Orion kind of came to. So he gestures over towards Orion, but Agatha kind of steps up and she's like, well, okay, so you're all, I'm supposed to be your mentors, and I feel like you all keep going on these, this... Orion, I don't understand why we have to keep putting these poor children in harm's way. Why is it...
Well, I think it's important to keep a childlike heart.
We're doing it because it's our job.
Yes, but why you four? I mean, we've just lost, or... Ascot isn't necessarily gone, but I feel like we just lost Ascot, and I hate to see that us just throwing you right back into the fray. There are others that could be taking this up.
I agree. There's Orion, and there's you, and there's the other two mentors, and there's that grumpy wizard. I mean, honestly.
So this is where Orion kind of, you know,
It's actually a cleric.
Yeah, like I understand Agatha. No one is more distraught by this than me. I don't like losing members of my guild, and that is why I believe that we need to act as one. I think that we should all go on this journey, but I think that we need to go take different paths to the same end. I believe that whether we like it or not, these four are important. Sometimes destiny is a thing, whether we appreciate it or not. And, I mean, just the fact that Jorell woke up now, you know, Mizr was drawn from the Feywild after a life, you know, his, you know, living there his whole life, and then our, you know, alarms somehow pulled him from another. It just all seems very serendipitous to me. To try to ignore that and try to fight fate just seems a little naive, I suppose. Maybe I'm just a believer, but I'd like to think that this is all happening for a reason.
And Agatha, you also need to keep in mind our opinions matter as well. We're volunteering for this.
And do you all feel that way?
You're not forcing us into anything.
Well, of course.
Neriah, you're awfully quiet.
I'm always quiet.
It's true, but I have to hear you all say it.
Dodge.
I don't want any of you to feel like you're being forced into this.
I don't think.
Jorell?
I'm more than happy to host a party for Clovis, so, you know.
Okay, well, I suppose I'm going to hand it over to Styx. He's been discussing some strategies and how to properly divide our efforts. Alright now, so we've got a few different possible ways we could do this, and since you're all the young lads on deck and everyone seems to be worried about your safety, I'll let you make the choice of where you want to go. So, after talking with Ulrich, apparently the last place this Copper Knight thing was seen was at the Library of Light. Stole one of them damn info statues and flew off. You'll get more details later. You don't really need to know all that, you know, all the specifics, but yeah, that was the last place it was seen, so that'd be the place where you got to try to pick up the trail. The other option is you can go to Fort Gradmere, which you visited for a quick minute there a little while ago. Fort Gradmere, you can meet with
Kaelana.
Thank you. You can meet with Kaelana. She was also a member of Ulrich's party back in the day, one of the only surviving members. So she might have some more information on the whole dragon business. There's a couple other paths which don't directly deal with the whole Clovis situation, but we thought we'd throw it out there, considering recent events with Ascot. There's speculation that if you were to head back to the Nine Hells, you could maybe barter some sort of deal to get that thing out of them. Not recommending that one. And then another one is supposedly Gaia in the Feywild might have some ideas of how to pull that thing out of Ascot as well. So those are two different options if you want to go down the Ascot situations. Some of us here feel that we shouldn't have even mentioned those. We don't feel like it's as pertinent, but it's only right that we give you the options to explore that path. So Feywild, or like if you feel like plane jumping, is what it boils down to. You could obviously the two of you familiar with the Feywild, it wouldn't be all that to do, I suppose. With 9 hells, again, not really something I even like reminding you about. And then we got Fort Gradamere. Seems like the easiest one, at least for starting the trail. And then again, we got the Library of Light. Doesn't seem too hard. There are a bunch of friendly folks there. That's where the Illumians hang out. They're on the Wyvern Island. It's kind of their base of operations. They're the defenders of the protectors from the Underdark on Merizian here. Most of Wrath. They're the ones that jump on them dirty drow whenever they try to come up here surface. So they're mostly a bunch of decent folk.
Well, if we went to the library, I unfortunately would probably get a little distracted with trying to catch up on all the information that I feel I would need to absorb, so...
Just as long as you don't steal one of them their statues, is like them, that Copper Knight.
However...
That'll get you in some bad business right there.
I do feel at some point we should address the escort issue, as I believe we owe it to him to at least attempt to fix this situation. However, I do know Gaia, and she would be very wise in possibly giving us even more information about perhaps our quest itself. Perhaps she knows something that can lead us in another direction.
Yeah, I've obviously never met Gaia, but, been around a long time. From what I understand, closest thing to a deity is most people's ever met. So, I have to assume they know something a little bit about the dragon situation as well. So, it's your decision.
I would certainly love to go to the Nine Hells and kick around again. Unfortunately, I feel like I need to wait a little longer before I can lead another expedition like that.
And the rest of you?
Will Ostrich be traveling with us as well?
Ostrich, we feel best is to keep some distance between you lot. He seems to be tracking Ostrich, and we don't really want to put you face to face with Clovis again right yet.
So he's going to be basically, I assume, a moving beacon. He's just going to wander around and keep Clovis moving. Well,
right. Yep. We're going to give him a few escorts. Heroth is offered to work with and be a shout out to Ostrich, and we're going to kind of shuffle him around the board a bit.
Well, considering Clovis seems to move at a casual pace, I don't see that being too much of an issue.
Yeah, that's the one thing we seem to have going for us. He's not a quick walker.
Would I suggest having individuals actually follow behind him to clean up his obvious messes he leaves?
Yes, he is good at leaving the messes. He has though he seems like he always travels with himself, he basically travels with an army at his beck and call. You've already dealt with a few of them shadow folk. He's got other tricks up his sleeve as well. Stormmane, you seem awfully quiet.
Just thinking. As much as I want to resolve Ascot's situation, I also feel like the world at large is at stake with resolving the issues with Clovis and the dragons. And unfortunately, I don't feel like we can ignore the needs of the world just to fix Ascot right now. Much as I want.
Well, again, I said perhaps Gaia can give us information resolving both.
Because if we need to track down Raja to release the work with the dragons, we're looking at trying to find one person in the world, which is a needle in a hay field.
Where is Fort Radmere on the map? So we're on the eastern coast
Down
somewhere,
here.
right?
It's the Toe Hills.
Yeah, okay. So I thought.
And now our hands are going to disappear in the blackness.
Yeah, the very northern end of the Toe Hills there, basically.
Well, I still maintain my vote.
We have 1 for, 1 against Feywild. Neriah?
I believe he never hurts to ask anyway.
Yes.
We're looking for.
Ostrich pipes up again. Okay. Let me find my crappy Scottish voice again.
Yell donkey real loud and go.
Donkey! Yeah, I don't have I have triggering phrases for certain accents, but I don't seem to have one for Scottish for some reason. So basically, I call him a dragon man because he is actually a dragon, but he is in a humanoid sort of form. So he's about 7.5 feet tall. He's got wings, but he looks kind of like a overgrown gargoyle or something.
So, I don't feel like he's going to be that hard to find.
Well,
He has to probably be in hiding. But
he's,
Whether or
like
not
more-
he wants to be found.
yeah, he is extremely smart. He's well skilled in both survival and combat. You know, he is a dragon, you know, in this interesting form. You know, he can fly. He's extremely powerful.
I mean, perhaps Gaia can help us in seeking him out as.
In all of my time in the Fae, I've never seen Gaia. I would love to meet Gaia. How would we even begin to track down or contact Gaia? I keep looking over at Jorell like, no Gaia?
Yes.
Yeah, Orion actually jumps up. He's like, well, actually, interestingly enough, the only reason we even really mentioned this idea was, 1, because you grew up there, and 2, that Jorell has spent time there and was one of the few people that we know of in history that has met Gaia and lived to tell the tale. So, we don't have a guide to offer you. You have the guide, if there is one. I mean, things I'm sure have changed in the last few thousand years while he was gone, but it's the Feywild. Things tend to not evolve as quickly as in the world of man, I suppose you could say. We're all eager to build and grow, whereas the Feywild wants things to pretty much stay the same.
Well, should we go to the Fae? I have Elysian friends that we be
Ostrich
able to
picks up,
find
he's
a
like,
warm belly and a warm bed.
I wasn't there with them, but the group that I ended up hooking up with later on, they had spent some time in the Feywild, and they didn't describe it as the most welcoming of places. So, again, I don't know what it was like when you were there before, but be careful. They tend to remind, when they would tell me the few times they told me stories about their time there, they told me that they are described as pollutants. They weren't men, they weren't elves, they were pollutants. So, just keep a wary eye if you do decide to go.
Don't worry, I am well familiar with their view of individuals from this realm. However, I was there at a time of great need. I was given these abilities by the Feywild itself. I am an emissary of theirs. Time of need, they called me. I feel it could at least help with some answers. I'm not worried.
I feel like both are equally as. I'm not sure.
Well, like I said, we could either go speak to something that is the equivalent of a deity. We do not know the wisdom and knowledge that lies within the depths of Gaia. However, or we could go off to a library, and we could, as Stormmane has eloquently put it, search for a needle in a hayfield. We could get lucky and step on him, painfully, right into it, or we could not. At least we could get guidance, come back, and then make that our second stop.
Well, I just want you to know that it might not be a quick journey. We don't know where Gaia is. We don't know where you're going to pop up when we get you over there. We don't know what kind of difficulties you might run into. And we will, if you do go, we'll do our best to buy you as much time as possible, but we will be dealing with the Clovis situation a little more directly on this side. As best we can. We're also going to try to make contact with a few of the other Dragontail guilds. See if we can get some more assistance in the matter. As well as getting a hold of Fort Gradamir. It seems like this is going to become a bit of a united front, as Clovis is basically a one-man walking army. I talked to Heroth over here, who's not very chatty, as you might have noticed. And he had some interesting things to say when we mentioned Clovis to him. But Orion interrupts Osric. Yes, so apparently Heroth has, him and Styx apparently took an expedition out to, they're on a hunt for some supposed land of the dead, this supposedly undead kingdom, and there was rumored that there was basically these undead kings that ruled this, or some sort of council. We had heard about a bunch of this, mostly fairy tales. Anyone that's gone looking for this land of the dead has never found it, most never seen again. You know, the typical, go searching for treasure, never find it, never seen it again kind of situation. Some of the information that they were able to dig up that they considered, at the time didn't consider because they didn't recognize the name, but now having more information on the Clovis situation is apparently Clovis is one of these kings of that land. Apparently there's a council of 4 undead, a lich, a powerful greater mummy, a death knight, and a vampire now. That are all apparently ancient and powerful, and Clovis is that death knight that apparently holds that seat.
Ancient and powerful, yes. Not that many times.
So, as powerful he is on his own, he apparently has even more forces he can call if necessary. So, the news only gets better and better.
As much as I would love to return to the Fae and name off a couple of my friends, it sounds like we may miss out on the entire Clovis fight. We made that choice, and it would be kind of a gamble if we could even get back here to help.
It's hard to say. You may only be gone a few days, you could be gone a few weeks. It might be a few weeks before we even actually encounter Clovis. We don't know. There's no way of seeing how this is all going to play out. We just have to go through the motions.
I see wisdom in both choices. I accept the choice of all of us.
I cast all the votes.
I choose not to vote.
Exactly.
I abstain.
Mizr thinks both sides will work out equally as well.
Who were these other individuals that you met with who said they had met with Gaia?
My God, Candace's character. Yes, thank you. Why do I keep forgetting her freaking name? Some of the other folks that had met with Gaia were, again, the folks that Osric had traveled with. He met up with them after they had returned from the Feywild. They actually lost a comrade in the Feywild to Gaia specifically. But Kaelana from Fort Gradamir was a member of that party. In fact, the leader of the party, or at least became the leader of that party, who now runs the Adventuring Guild in Fort Gradamir. She was in the Feywild. She was there. She witnessed it. She does not describe it as one of the better times of her life. So, I mean, that's another possible reason to at least hit Fort Gradamir first.
If she has information on both Gaia and the Feywild and the dragons, she might be one to confer with before we make a final decision.
I agree.
I can be down with that.
I can get jiggy with it. So, seems like you are all in agreement.
Fourth
Gradamir. Okay. Finally,
Plus, if they need us back quickly, we'll be able to recall as well.
Right, yeah.
Things change quickly.
Baroth is in the corner and like, but you didn't offer them opportunity to stay with and meet Clovis if he's coming here. Are you fucking insane?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did put quite a bit of effort into this whole party.
Well, I thought we offer them all option. Yeah, dude, shut up. Just want to be fair. They will take you to the teleportation chamber, unless there is anything that anyone wants to do before departing.
Rather be going out and doing something rather than sitting and waiting for Clovis to show up.
Just remind Bartok to put out the cover. We discussed.
You hear outside the door, I got you, boss!
Or
Thought this was a closed meeting!
or
That's how the guild works. Every time there's a closed meeting, everybody piles up and gets the door.
or you hear from outside.
Oh, this is supposed to be over? I'm gonna make some more.
We're gonna cook more, quick! So, we're gonna go to Fort Gradamir.